Let's talk about artificial intelligence. It's moving at an absolutely breakneck speed, right? One minute it's creating this unbelievable art out of thin air, the next it's literally writing its own computer code. But you have to wonder, where's this all headed? What is our world actually going to look like by 2030? That is the big question we're diving into today.
You know, when you hear people talk about the future of AI, it always seems to swing between two wild extremes. On one side, you've got this vision of a utopia. Effortless living, massive scientific breakthroughs, everything perfectly personalized just for you. And on the other side, a total dystopia. Mass unemployment, a world flooded with misinformation, and governments using it for control. It's a super polarized debate.
So, our mission here is to cut through all that noise. Instead of just guessing, we're going to dig into the consensus from thousands of AI researchers, top economists, and major global studies to build a real, data-driven picture of what's coming. And to do that, we're going to use something I like to call a funnel of certainty. We'll start at the widest part of the funnel, the big picture predictions that pretty much everyone building and studying this tech agrees on.
First, a super quick definition so we're all on the same page. When we talk about the AI of the near future, what we're really talking about is frontier AI. Just think of it as the next generation, the models that will come after what we have today. They're going to be way more capable and able to do a whole lot more things.
So what are the experts? The folks at places like Google DeepMind and OpenAI, what do they all agree is coming by 2030? Well, it boils down to four key things. 1, frontier AI will be wildly more powerful than what we have now. 2, it's going to be woven into everything we do, kind of like an invisible utility, just like electricity is today. 3, it is going to put scientific research and development into overdrive. And finally, number 4, for the foreseeable future, a handful of giant tech companies are going to be the ones calling the shots.
Okay, so that's the big picture, qualitative view. It's helpful, but it's a little fuzzy, right? So let's narrow our funnel a bit and get into what the hard data and the actual numbers are telling us. Let's start by following the money. Way back in 2022, global corporate investment in AI had already rocketed to almost $190 billion. I mean, that is a staggering 1,200% increase in less than a decade. This fire hose of cash is what's fueling this entire revolution.
And all that investment, it's going to translate directly to our jobs. Just look at this forecast from a huge panel of AI experts. By 2030, they're predicting that nearly 18% of all work hours in the US will be assisted by generative AI. Now, that doesn't mean 18% of jobs just vanish. What it means is that for every 5 hours you work, 1 of those hours will be spent working alongside an AI partner. Maybe it's a doctor having an AI double-check a diagnosis, or a programmer using it to squash bugs in their code, or a marketer getting help drafting a new campaign.
But this isn't just about our work lives. AI is getting ready to walk right into our personal lives in a really profound way. This chart is fascinating. It shows forecasts for how many of us will be using AI for daily companionship. See that orange line? That's the AI experts' prediction. It just shoots for the moon. This points to a huge shift from AI being a tool we use for tasks to AI being a partner in our social and even our emotional lives.
But here's the catch. All of this incredible computational power comes at a very real physical cost. Training and running these massive AI models takes an insane amount of energy. The median expert forecast suggests that by 2030, AI data centers alone could be eating up almost 1.7% of all US electricity. And this really highlights one of the biggest challenges ahead. How do we balance all this incredible technological progress with environmental sustainability? So, up until now, we've been talking about what's pretty likely to happen. Now, let's get to the narrowest, most intense part of our funnel, the great unknowns, the areas where there is huge disagreement and the risks that are literally keeping experts up at night.
Okay, let's just get to the big one, the question that's on everybody's mind. When will an AI be able to outperform a human at every single possible task? This idea is called high-level machine intelligence, or HLMI. It's that theoretical point where a machine can do any job better and cheaper than a person can. So, when do the experts think we're actually going to get there?
Well, the answer might actually surprise you. A massive survey of AI researchers puts the median 50-50 chance forecast for HLMI at the year 2047. But look at that second line. Full automation of labor isn't expected until almost 100 years later. That creates this incredible nearly 70-year gap between when AI can theoretically do every job and when our society has actually managed to adapt to that new reality. That gap is going to be filled with decades of social, economic, and political turmoil.
So, what does this massive uncertainty look like in practice? Well, this simple chart really helps explain the two main paths our future could take. Over on the left, we've got a future where AI continues to improve, but it stays a powerful, limited tool. But over on the right, we have a future with something much closer to artificial general intelligence, or AGI. These would be systems that can actually improve themselves and even set their own goals. Where we're going to land on the spectrum by 2030 is maybe the single biggest unknown of all. And when you ask the very people building this AI what they're most afraid of, the answers are pretty sobering. I mean, look at this chart. The top 3 concerns, the ones in red and orange, they're not science fiction nightmares about killer robots. They are the societal risks that we are already starting to deal with right now. AI-driven misinformation, the use of AI for authoritarian control, and the real danger that it can make economic inequality way, way worse. And to really, truly drive home the gravity of these concerns, just listen to this quote from that exact same survey. Nearly half of the AI researchers polled said they believe there is at least a 10% chance that advanced AI could lead to human extinction, a 1 in 10 chance of a global catastrophe, according to the very people building the technology. Just let that sink in for a minute. So, after all that, from the consensus forecasts to the hard data to those really stark warnings, where does that leave us? Let's pull back and bring it all together. If there is one single thing that emerges from all the expert opinions and all the data, it is this. The AI of 2030 is not going to be some minor upgrade. It is going to be an astoundingly powerful force, deeply, deeply woven into the fabric of our economy, our society, and our daily lives. This is no longer a question of if, it's only a question of how. So, the crucial points to walk away with are these. First, widespread AI integration is coming, and it's coming fast. Second, the impact on everything from our jobs to our relationships is going to be massive. Third, the risks from misinformation all the way up to existential threats are very real, and they need urgent, thoughtful regulation. And finally, and this is the most important part, the outcome is not set in stone.
You know, technology doesn't have a destiny. It has users and it has builders, and they all have intentions. The experts and the data all show that by 2030, we will have created a uniquely powerful tool, maybe the most powerful tool in all of human history. So the real question, the one that should be on all of our minds is, what are we, as a society, going to choose to build with it?